Introduction of exchange rate. Malaysian ringgit. The currency of Malaysia is Ringgit Malaysia, RM or MYR. Issued and regulated by Bank Negara Malaysia. Initially launched as Malaysian dollar in 1967 and renamed in ringgit in 1975. The exchange rate fluctuates based on economic trend and global event, monitored by travelers, investors, and businesses for informed decision making. Swiss franc (CHF), officially currency of Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Comune d'Italia. Established in 1850, issued in 6 banknote denomination known as a safe haven currency. Ranked 7 most traded worldwide, economy driven by service sector, 74% of GDP, banking and tourism. Switzerland maintained neutrality and is not part of EU or EEA. Swedish krona, currency of Sweden since 1873, issued by Sveriges Riksbank, subdivided into 100 euro, symbolized as KR. High standard of living supported by high-tech, capitalism and social benefit. Focus on foreign trade with resources like timber and iron ore. Majority of Swedes oppose adopting the euro despite EU obligation. Euro introduction, exchange rate peg between the euro and currencies in EMU since December 1998. Euro introduced on January 1, 1999. Euro system established for monetary policy. Euro banknote and coin phase in, national currency phase out by February 28, 2002. Created a stable currency for over 300 million citizens across 12 countries. The conclusion, each currency reflects its issuing nation economic framework, essential for understanding international finance dynamic.
Overview of the currency analyzed. Base currency is MYR, Malaysian Ringgit. Selected currency is Euro, CHF, GBP, and SEK. Euro, Eurozone economy and ECB monetary policy impact Euro. Malaysian Ringgit fluctuation tied to Malaysia's export performance and global commodity price. Swiss franc, CHF. CHF is a low-risk, stable currency due to Switzerland's strong financial and political environment. Malaysian ringgit is influenced by global trade in palm oil and natural gas, has minimal direct risk from Switzerland. For the next is British pound (GBP). GBP reflects the UK's financial service, strength and global trade. Malaysian ringgit volatility is linked to Malaysia's reliance on rubber, oil, and palm oil exports. Geopolitical events like Brexit also affects the exchange rate. Lastly is Swedish krona (SEK) is stable backed by Sweden's diversified industrial economy. Malaysian ringgit experienced greater volatility due to its commodity-driven nature and sensitivity to oil prices.
This is the historical exchange rate of GBP, Euro, CHF, and SEK against MYR. But for this table, I only pick the exchange rate by monthly, but we are also have collected the data for weekly basis and also daily basis. Let me see the percentage changes in exchange rate of GBP, Euro, CHF, SEK against MYR. So for GBP, the changes from 2.63% have been decreasing to 0.17% on February, and again it decreased to 0.42% on March, decreased again by 0.04% for April, but it's increasing to by 0.57% in May, and it decreased back in June by 0.53%. For euro, we can see the exchange rates are increasing by 0.2% on February, but it's decreasing by 0.52% on March. It again decreased by 0.18% on April, but it's also increased during May by 0.25%, and it decreased again on June by 0.95%. For CHF, the exchange rate, the changes of exchange rate are decreasing by 2.32% on February. It decreased again 2.37% on March, and decreased again by 0.88% on April, but it increased on May and June by 0.52% and 0.58% respectively. Next, we can see for SEK against MYR, where the exchange rate changes are increasing by 0.44% on February. On March, it decreased by 2.98%, and on April, it decreased again by 2.44%, but it had also increased during May by 3.19%. But in June, the SEK against MYR faced and decreasing in their exchange rate by 0.4%. Now let me see the percentage changes of all the currency, where in February we can see GBP have faced a decreasing 0.17 against MYR. For Euro, it's increasing 0.2% against MYR. Then for CHF, it's decreasing by 2.32%. And for SEK, it's increasing by 0.44%. While for during March and April, all of these four currencies has faced a decreasing the rate against MYR, where GBP on March are experiencing decreasing of 0.42%, Euro by 0.52%, CHF by 2.37%, SEK by 2.98%. While for April, GBP feels another decreasing on 0.04% against MYR, Euro decreased 0.18% against MYR, CHF has decreased 0.88% against MYR, as well as SEK also decreasing their rates by negative 2.44% against MYR. Later in May, all of these four currencies are experiencing increasing against their rates against MYR, while for June, there are some of them are decreasing and some of them are increasing. Let me see, for May, GBP are increased 0.57% against MYR, as well as Euro 0.25%, CHF 0.52%, and SEK by 3.19%. While for June, GBP and Euro is basically decreasing against MYR for their exchange rate by 0.53% and 0.95% respectively. And CHF and SEK is basically increasing their rates against MYR by 0.58% and 0.4% respectively. These are the percentage change in exchange rate against MYR for monthly. So we can see that SEK are experiencing the highest percent changes during the period. So the graph before showed the y-axis and the percentage change in the exchange rate, while the x-axis are represented likely in 2024, which is from 1st January to 1st June 2024. While the currency represented a blue line for GBP, orange line for Euro, green line for CHF, and light blue line for SEK. So by referring to the graph, we can see that SEK offers a more volatile behavior compared to other currencies, which remain relatively steady against the MYR over the time period to analyze. This graph shows the exchange rate of GBP against MYR during April to June 2024. If GBP had faced a lower exchange rate against MYR on 22nd April 2024 with the rate of 5.8966, and it had faced the highest exchange rate against MYR on 12th June 2024 with the rate of 6.0333.
Exchange rate of GBP against MYR April to June 2024. Vertical y-axis represent the exchange rate value measuring ringgit/GBP from approximately 5.85 thousand to 6.0500. Horizontal x-axis represent date from April to June 2024. Date points on 22 of April 2024, the rate was 5.8966. From to 12th of June 2024, the rate peaked at 6.033.
And this graph shows the exchange rate of euro against MYR during April to June 2024, where the rate has been highest on 8 April 2024 by 5.1560, and the lowest had been recorded on 26 June 2024 with a rate of 5.0298. Next, let me see the graph of the exchange rate of CHF against MYR, where they had the lowest rate on 22nd May 2024 with a rate of 5.1201, and the highest are recorded on 18 June 2024 with a rate of 5.3285. Lastly, let me see the graph of the exchange rate of SEK against MYR during April to June 2024, where the lowest exchange rate are being recorded on 30th April 2024 with a rate of 0.4325, and the highest exchange rate were recorded on 12th June 2024 with a rate of 0.4549.
Exchange rate of SEK against Malaysian ringgit April to June 2024 explanation. Trend: the graph illustrates fluctuation in the exchange rate during the specified period. Point: 30 of April 2024, lowest rate of RM 0.4325. 12 June 2024, peak exchange rate for 4 ringgit 45 cent. General observation: the exchange rate shows significant favorability with an upward trend in June after a dip in April and May.
Okay, so for the next part is insight and analysis. For the euro currency, most of the time the euro is the reserve of the US dollar. It means that the euro can be depreciated by a stronger USD. Inflation increase and a slowdown in the rate of economic growth in the eurozone as a result of soaring energy costs pull down the value of the euro currency. In 2024, euro currency will perform according to the ECB policies, economic growth, and the geopolitical situation, especially in terms of US dollar. So for the GBP currency, there are ways that can lead to the depreciation of the GBP, such as slower growth or higher inflations, while there are ways that can strengthen the GBP currency, like positive economic indicator. Interest rates can either particularly support or harm the GBP currency, and this is highly dependent on its stance on the rates. The future status of the GBP currency in year 2024 will therefore depend on the position of the UK economy after Brexit policy of the Bank of England and international factor. Okay, so for the CHF currency, key factor affecting the CHF is Swiss economic performance. Therefore, the CHF currency move up and down such macroeconomic fundamental as growth rate in GDP, inflation rate, and employment rate are some determinant of CHF currency. The movement in the US dollar and euro currency are some of the example of global economic factors that may affect the CHF currency. So relative to 2024, the CHF currency instability will rely on global economic factors and monetary and fiscal policies of SNB and the Swiss economy as well as geopolitical risks with the safe haven currency assets still being affected by geopolitics. So for the SEK currency varies because of a number of influential factors including Swedish economic performance. The economic indicators include gross domestic product, inflation rate, and employment levels determine SEK rate. It flirts with the become stronger in a currency when economic performance is strong and becomes weaker when data is weak or there is a recession.
Introduction to contracts govern various activity like house rental, mortgage payment, employment, mobile phone use, telephone viewing, and online shopping. Form a legally binding arrangement with six key components: offer, acceptance, consideration, and certainty of terms. Tenant must accept stipulated terms and conditions. Right of third parties are generally not acknowledged. Characteristics of contract usually exist as written documentation. Date and place, term and condition, service product, provide, exchange, acknowledgement, and signature. Important in financial management, relation including loan agreement, investment contract, derivative instrument, and lease agreement. Enforceability relies on a strong legal structure. Role in global economies promote international trade and investment.
This is the cross rate calculations for GBP. I have choose the peak date of 12 June 2024, and the calculation are as this, which GBP against euro with the rate of 1.1840, GBP against CHF at 12 June is 1.1446, and lastly GBP against SEK has recorded on 12 June by 13.2629. Next, we move to the cross rate calculation for euro. So the peak date we have choose is on 8 April 2024, where the cross rate calculation of euro against GBP are recorded as 0.8581, while euro against CHF is 0.9832, and lastly for euro against SEK that we recorded as 11.4731. Let me see for the cross rate calculation for CHF, where the peak date has been chosen on 18 June 2024, where the cross rate calculation for CHF against GBP have resulted of 0.8899, for CHF against euro is 1.0531, and lastly for CHF against SEK is 11.8044. Lastly, let me see the cross rate calculation of SEK currency. The peak date is on 18 June 2024, where the exchange rate of SEK against MYR is recorded as 0.4549, GBP against MYR is 6.0333, Euro against MYR is 5.0955, and CHF against MYR is 5.2711. As a result, the cross rate calculation are as follow, which is for SEK against GBP is 0.0754, for SEK against euro is 0.0893, and lastly for SEK against CHF is 0.0863.
These are collection data for the future contract between MYR and GBP, MYR versus Euro, MYR versus CHF, and MYR versus SEK.
Option. The decision to purchase or sell option for base currency relies on the anticipated future shift of the base currency in relation to the quote currency. Significant factor for acquiring a call option comprise interest rate differentiate, economic growth statistic, trade balance, inflation data, and political or economic instability in UK. For the sale of a put option, political or economic instability in the UK, differing monetary policy and risk sentiment can all influence the decision. Market volatility serve as a crucial factor in the determining option premiums and the appeal of call or puts. Increased volatility raise option premium, rendering them advantageous for risk hedging. Traders may lean towards purchasing option to take advantage of more substantial price fluctuate in either direction. Reduce volatility lowers option premium but also constrain the change of consideration profit. Put option may be favored in the stable market and environment as a safeguard against the accepted downturn risk. Market volatility significantly influence your option strategy by affecting option premiums and the likelihood of realizing profit from an option position. High volatility increase the implement volatility component of option premiums, making both call and put option more expensive. Lower volatility reduce the component, making them cheaper but limiting the potential of substantial gains. Strategy adjustment based on volatility include buying option when volatility is high, avoiding selling option due to great risk exposure, selling option when volatility is low, and being cautious when buying option. The profitability threshold is set by a premium of 5 cents, with high velocity more likely to breach due to largest price swings and low velocity sell less likely to breach, reducing the chance of profit unless underlying economic indicators strongly support a directional.
Okay, so for the next part is explanation of decision making process. The objective of decision making process is to provide for balance in our economic, check inflation, promote commerce and boost investor confidence. So there are two factor of currency decisions. Firstly is interest rate. Interest rate act in a way by which through the manipulation of its rates, the central bank are able to either attract more investor or less as they seek to control the value of their currency. Secondly is economic indicators and data. So inflation rate are such that high inflation is usually associated with weakening of a currency, where low inflation will sustain the strengthening of a currency. Also in gross domestic product growth, growing economic tends to appreciate the currency as institutional investor confidence in the country is likely to go up due to expected good performance.
Okay, reason for currency selection. Represent the diversified Eurozone economy. The exchange rate reflects Malaysia trade ties with Europe and global trade condition. Comparison of Malaysia trade reliant economy with Europe industrial economy. Number two, re-own safe haven currency, stable in time of global uncertainty. This pair reveal how Malaysia emerging market currency respond to risk sentiment compared to Switzerland stability focused economy. For number three, a significant stable currency from developed economy with high interest rate, such as MYR, represent Malaysia export-driven commodity reliant economy, highlight the interaction of monetary policy and commodity price volatility. Number four, balance stability and adaptability. Linked to the euro, reflect Sweden export focused economy versus Malaysia's commodity reliant market. Highlight European regional dynamic influencing Sweden's economy.
Alignment with data analysis. Analyzing currency selection and decision making with data analysis entails using pertinent data to inform decisions that maximize performance, control risk, and accomplish strategic goals. Analyzing data aids in assessing possible dangers related to exchange rate variation. The investor use real-time data on global commodity price to adjust the currency like GBP, Euro, CHF, and SEK used for trade agreement and taking advantage of favorable exchange rates at the moment.
Okay, so lastly, the conclusion for this task. The consideration of the trend within the fluctuation in currency as well as the perception of the decision-making cost outlines the key points of this analysis by showing the ways in which economic, political, and the market forces intervene to dictate the value of currencies. Fluctuation in currency relationships with other currencies depend on other economic variables such as inflation rate, gross domestic product, trade balance, capital flows, among others, and political stability and incidences. So many other factors in the political domain affect currency values, including political choices and the global environment that covers trade relations and investments. In this respect, it is possible to measure currency risk thinking in short-run speculative activities and structural trends.